camp, we definitely need to consider the fact that these were the two teams in the finals last year. VBO did upset CGC in the semifinals, and so these are technically your two top teams in the league. They have to still be considered that way because they are the teams in the finals of the playoffs, and that's really where the money's made. Regular season is regular season. You hear it from the NBA. You hear it from Double Lift every year in spring season. It's always about the playoffs, but I am very excited for this matchup because when these two teams matched up in week 1, we got a 1-1 split. Lotus took game 1, Vlad Banners took game 2, which was pretty interesting considering Vlad Banners tried to troll every game 2 they have in the league so far. And that's not a satisfying ending for anyone. We want to see who has developed, who has gotten better, because this is the key, the hallmark matchup of this league. And I want to see someone take a statement 2-0 win tonight.
Oh, yeah. No, this could easily dictate who we actually are looking towards as a potential competitor for the title this year around. And straight from the get-go, looking at Vlad Banners only, you have to talk about their top side of the map. Dusk to Dawn and Jimmy, game after game, performance after performance, coming in hot, looking like well-oiled machines. And if anybody's going to give our man Clonk a run for his money, it's got to be Dusk to Dawn. This is an animal. Already, we got a whole lot of picks and bans coming out. VBO going to grab that Caitlyn. They liked how it looked on our stream last game, so they're going to grab it up this one. Hecarim for the jungle. Meanwhile, Lotus has their whole first round. Seraphine, the automatic game winner, coming in high. Ezreal and Ornn. And when I say automatic game winner, I'm joking, because actually there's a lot of people who can murder Seraphine, like Gangplank, for instance.
Yeah, Gangplank would be an example, and that one will be a pretty strong pickup, I believe, by Crooked Serpent. I'm not seeing the lineup just yet at the moment for Lotus, but that's who it has been in the past and is very comfortable on that champion. So we should expect good things out of Crooked Serpent on the Gangplank on the top side, but that Seraphine so strong, and that could go in the hands of Jimmy in the mid lane. It could go down to the bottom side to support Stingus. And do keep in mind, you talked about Dusk to Dawn. He wasn't there for the first couple weeks for Vlad Banners only, so he was not available in their first matchup against Lotus, and that meant Stingus was actually playing in the top side. So now Stingus is back in his preferred role. He's on the Ezreal that he did play, I believe, in the last game that Vlad Banners only was streamed, and should be feeling very comfortable back in his role and back on his big champion, while it could be Walnut or Jimmy piloting the Seraphine.
A lot of options to go with the Seraphine, but I'm seeing some blasphemy already. Vladimir banned by Vlad Banners only. That doesn't sit right with me, to be completely honest. But hey, shout out to Dr. Aurelian Soul banned away by Lotus. They did not appreciate VBO's performance on that pick. That's pretty funny to me. I mean, that's you know, some comedic timing. I like it anytime anybody can ruffle Doctor's feathers, and I feel like giving enough respect to a pick like Aurelian Soul, you gotta give him a hand for that.
Wait, and they're just gonna pick the Lux. These guys, Vlad Banners are incredible. I love these guys. They get the Aurelian Soul taken away. They played that one earlier. Instead, they're just gonna pick up the Lux in mid lane. We haven't seen Lux in a million years in mid lane. It could be a support with Caitlyn, actually, though. This is an old combo lane from early last season. You get the root on the Q, you get the trap, you set up the huge combo in bot lane, but we haven't seen it since literally this time last season, because Caitlyn was nerfed, because Lux was nerfed in the support role. They took away the ability for her to use Aftershock and be tankier with that rune. So I think it'll be mid lane. It could still be support to try to trap this Ezreal. As I realized I had the draft completely flip-flopped earlier, so I was talking in complete circles. I apologize about that. But we are going to round it out with a Veigar, so it will be the support Lux. It'll be Jimmy on the Veigar. And this is a draft from VBO.
Oh, okay. Do you know how many catch-out tools there are on VBO right now? Granted, you don't ever want to catch the Ornn or the Zac. That's bad news. If you run into that, you could get killed off very quickly. But Azir, Ezreal, or Seraphine, there are so many different ways that these guys could A, get caught, and B, just get popped immediately. They have a fairly squishy composition on Lotus outside of that big front line, right? Like, these guys aren't going to have any sort of resistances in their squishy kits. There are shields, there are cages, there are so many ways to utilize, staying alive over on VBO. They can survive a lot of shenanigans. And I have to be real here. I really do like what VBO have put together for themselves here. You get caught, Lux can one-shot you. All right, Veigar is known for one-shotting you. And Hecarim is a very damage-heavy Hecarim build right now. He will one-shot you. There are so many pop potential champions over on VBO that Lotus has to play this so smart.
Yeah, they are going to have to play it smart. It is interesting how this worked out, and there is so much catch. You have the Hecarim to come in over the top as well, and I do like the fact that there's a lot of priority in the lanes for VBO to help this Hecarim in the early game. He's already in a pretty favorable matchup to farm up against the Zac. Zac not going to be invading your jungle. He's not going to be a threat early game like a Lee Sin would be, like an Olaf would be, like an Udyr would be. So you can rest pretty safe about that. But you get even extra power and priority in your jungle when you have a Caitlyn Lux against an Ezreal Seraphine. They're going to be shoving this lane in as much as they possibly can. And yeah, Ezreal and Seraphine should be just fine. It's unlikely, I think, that they get trapped up by the Lux into the trap combo, into the death, the classic sort of kill combo in that bottom lane. Ezreal, the safest AD carry in the game. Seraphine, such long range, it's so hard to get to her, really. It could happen, but I don't expect it. But either way, they'll be under the turret, so Hecarim can just be wherever he wants, whenever he wants, and that's what you want on a Hecarim. We saw what happened to Age King earlier on in the day when he fell behind on that champion. It just becomes useless. You need to have farm on this champion. You need to have kills on this champion. And I do agree that VBO's draft is set up to help the Hecarim get strong. They even have a Gangplank ultimate to support that globally.
Yeah, no, VBO, they had the gauntlet and they just chucked it at Lotus. We'll see how they look on this composition, but you can't count out what Lotus grabbed for themselves either. Looking over here, the Ornn, the Zac team fight is exquisite. Azir is only going to help that. Ezreal, I mean, we've all dealt with a late game Ezreal. He's impossible. And you throw a Seraphine on the top of all of that team fight goodness. Whew, that is a violent piece of art right there that Lotus have grabbed together for themselves. But looking across both these rosters, DJ, where are you looking? What are you looking for? Who are you expecting to show up, and who did all the marbles get put on here?
I'm looking at two places. First place, from a draft perspective, I am looking at the bottom lane. This is a Caitlyn Lux. We haven't seen a lot of Caitlyn. We just did see it in game number 2 for the likes of Glaive Amethyst, but this is a kill lane. It's a classic kill lane, and it's a kill lane into two very squishy champions who want to stay safe. And that's a bit of an interesting, will they stay safe or will they get caught, right? That'll be the question. I do think they'll be able to stay mostly safe. Where my eyes go from a player perspective has to be on Jimmy on this Hecarim. He has been so good this season for VBO, running around doing whatever he's wanted, and he is set up by the two team compositions to take over this game. If Jimmy gets strong and can be a frontline threat, can be a dive threat onto the Ezreal, onto the Seraphine, I think even the composition drafted by Lotus, which I think is a better team fighting comp, will have a lot of problems in a team fight because they'll have a Hecarim on their butts. They can't really engage onto the Veigar, and they'll get caught in two different minds about what to do. So my eyes are on Jimmy from a player perspective to carry the current reigning champions, Vlad Banners only, over their eternal rivals in Lotus here with a draft that is set up for him to succeed.
Yeah, no, Hecarim, Jimmy, I mean, it's all on you, buddy. Let's see if you can make this magic happen. And, Veigar, typically as a champion in this mid lane, he struggles from one thing, which is people that can put heavy, consistent poke on him like Azir, right? Like, I mean, granted, it's not the worst matchup Veigar has. I mean, Veigar doesn't win that many lane matchups. He's not really meant for that. So there's a lot of late scaling that this Veigar is going to bring into this fray. And Azir, they're both like working towards the same goal. Get to the late game. Get really powerful. It's like they both had the opportunity to really beat the tar out of one another. And they both decided, I'll see you in the late game. All right, we'll settle this at 40 minutes. So I also want to see Jimmy try to impact this mid lane matchup. I mean, you put Azir in the cage, he's not Shurima shuffling out of that. You know, he's not jumping away. He is stuck in that cage until Hecarim can get there. So the Prophet Jimmy combo could be absolutely deadly for JVL to deal with.
Yeah, certainly could be. And as you can see from Eloquence there in chat, Veigar is a pretty traditional counter into Azir because of that exact reason. You can't Shurima shuffle in or out of a Veigar cage, but we'll have to see if that is the case. So we're getting pretty close to game number one. Again, keep in mind, these two teams are the finalists, the runner-up for Lotus and the winner in Vlad Banner Solely from last season. They split the games even in week one, 1-1. Dusk to Dawn was not even on the roster for VBO at that time. I am looking to see who's going to make a statement between these two and proclaim themselves as the true threat to Glaive Amethyst at the top of the table for this title.
All right, well, Vlad Banner's only coming off a win over our Bucky Stratosphere, and Lotus coming off of their bye due to FGCU dropping out. Let's see if that warm-up helped VBO get ready for this game against one another, and let's find out if Glaive have some true competition, or if this is going to be an Amethyst show after all. VBO and Lotus both hoping to prove those words wrong. We'll see you guys on the Rift with Necrox and Doctor. My name is G-Spox Guy, joining me DJ. Take it easy, fellas. See you in a minute.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Lotus and VBO fans. Everyone is excited for this matchup tonight. Yes, we got through our first set of the evening, but this is what my heart and my eyes have been set on. Lotus taking on the reigning champions. We saw the matchup earlier in the split, and Dr. our analyst desk broke it down. It was a 1-for-1 earlier on. This time around, VBO looking to crush Lotus down to the ground. Lotus, though, led by Alistair and JVL, looking to claim their crown of the own as we get ready for what should be an incredibly intense matchup.
Yeah, I mean, we don't truly know which of these two teams are better in a head-to-head standpoint. Like you said, they're 1-for-1. It is a lot of ways to go before we actually hit playoffs, as we're only halfway through the season. So we're really starting to get into the minutia of who actually qualifies and who actually doesn't. So now, getting into the situation where these two teams, they're currently 1-1. This is the second time they've played against each other. This is when head-to-heads can start becoming apparent. If one team is able to go 2-0 here, then if a tiebreaker were to occur, then that team comes out ahead. Whereas if they split the difference once again, all of a sudden we need to get our mathematicians and our staff members involved before we can just say, yeah, this team gets the higher seed. And I like it when one team just wins. It makes it so much easier for my life. I don't do numbers very well. It's why I went to Mr. Doctor School instead of Mr. Mathematician School. It just makes more sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on that same boat, right? I just like to look at my screen and yell about some League of Legends. I don't like to have to do numbers and stuff. That's really complicated. Regardless, though, on the screen, as you can see, Crooked Serpent will be piloting this Ornn into Dusk to Dawn's Gangplank. This is a matchup Crooked Serpent has been working on, has been tending towards those tank-style champions, and Ornn is the name of the game here for Crooked in the top lane for now. Speaking with Alistair in between games, he's very excited to be able to lead this squad to more victories, but he wants to be put at the front foot for this team, wants to be the member leading the squad with that DPS, and on a champion like Ezreal can certainly begin to do so, already stacking up that tier nicely.
Yeah, and Ezreal starting to see a lot more play. We did see it in LCK earlier today. You know, I already spoke about it, touched on it about the build path that we're seeing. There's a Duskblade build path out there as well, which could be very interesting if that's the one they decide to break out. But it's a strong pickup. It's coming back in, like we said. It's going into the Lux Caitlyn, which is a tough lane. There's a lot of wave clear there, in which Ezreal can struggle with sometimes. Does have the Seraphine just to make sure he's healthy and not getting poked into oblivion. So the lane should go pretty standard. We're seeing a 7 CS advantage in favor of Stingus and Walnut. I think that will probably continue for the same reasons we've already talked about, but as we head into the mid game and things like that, I do think Alistair's Ezreal will spike a bit harder, especially if we get a similar build to the Caitlyn build we saw last game. Caitlyn, however, not our only repeat. We're also getting the Zac once again, which I don't know, that's a weird pick to me to be circulating all of Heavy League.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a champion that you think like, oh, let's just go ahead and pick up a Zac. It's always going to provide some effort. If you want a ganking jungler, teams toward to operate along the Jarvan lines or something like that with a little more playmaking potential, as LZ will be the first member here to show up in a lane, will get double scuttled for this effort. LZ, though, with double buffs, will be spotted out on a ward, and a good net 90 caliber there, but forcing the flash out of Stingus nonetheless. LZ gonna get a summoner, but will get a Scuttle Crab taken away from him for that bot lane gank.
Yeah, losing out on that experience, that bonus gold, and potentially even gank pressure. Crooked Serpent knockback.
Crooked Serpent has to flash, but is there enough damage? And indeed there is. VBO Jimmy. This is what the analyst desk was talking about. Get involved early on. The Hack Room, find your leads, and a first blood goes the way of Vlad banners only.
Yeah, great stuff so far. Now, I do have the inside track from the jungler, Jimmy. He gave me this weird bit of drafting information that they were going to want me to say it on stream. Let me just say this. If they win the game in less than 23 minutes, they have a specialty pick up their sleeve. So they only got 19 left to go. So we'll see if they can actually get that done. If they keep doing this, then holy, are they in? They're on time.
Yeah, Crooked Serpent is here being bullied, but in comes LZ with a beautiful stretching strike that pulls two members. Crooked Serpent looking to stay alive, but LZ will be put into the passive, but that's a large portion of the damage that has gone down, and Crooked Serpent is crooked no more. A double kill on over the Ornn Forge God in Crooked Serpent and Lotus take this top lane back in their control.
I really don't know how long people are gonna disrespect Ornn. He's the level early killer. He does so much freaking damage. Like, how can you really expect to win a fight there? Plus, you just got that excellent engage from LZ, just managing to get both on the knock-up, both on the clap back, just everything working out perfectly for LZ there. The Zac pick already doing much better than the one we saw earlier. Best case scenario as well, they do give both kills over to the laner. Crooked Serpent is going to be an animal now.
That was an excellently set up counter gank there by LZ, and I wanted to mention this pick earlier on, but we had too much going on for me to be able to talk about it. LZ, this is a completely different look from Lotus. Last 2 times they played with LZ last week, they put this on a carry style. I believe it was a Graze and then a Nidalee. And I know a Nidalee for a fact, but regardless, it was 2 carries for LZ. This time, we're seeing the Zac. It's not about all the LZ show. This time, we're going to go for the supportive style. A good counter gank is there, making sure Crooked can stay in this lane. They end up getting a double kill for it. Now Lotus, with this top lane advantage that they have built for themselves, looking to put Dusk to Dawn behind. Still behind in gold, mostly just because of that jungle difference that Jimmy has been performing. He's really just been prioritizing his camps, and along with that should be first dragon for VBO as well.
Yep, gonna be the Infernal into Cloud, which means we will get those sustain slash tanky dragons for our soul, earth or ocean, for those of you who didn't know what I meant. And man, grass really does do a ton of damage. It's actually kind of silly coming from Gangplank, but hey, it's in the game. Honestly, I'll tell you what, I will take Grasp Gangplank over Conqueror Mages any day of the week. There's no reason Conqueror should work on Mages. I just, that's my hot take for today.
I agree with you. I think Conqueror is just a broken rune in general, and everyone can take it. Ornn, you know, big tank. You can play 80 carries who take Conqueror. Mage, I mean, it's just disgusting. But that's besides the point. Let's see how many Conquerors we got in this game. Not too many. 2. Yes, 2. Right, that's about it. And Ornhorn will be called down. Dusk to Dawn, by the way, is in a lot of trouble. He doesn't have enough Conqueror stacks to stay alive. Crooked Serpent bonks him upside the head. And in a 1v3, the Forge God finds himself another kill.
What was that? It worked, but I'm just like, I honestly thought he had DC'd in the bush, because we're just sitting here watching him on the directed cameras. He just watches minions die and die and die. And then just like, you know, time to go. Time to activate the go button. Let me just kill a GP. I'll go back to base, eat up all these summoner abilities, and BBO.
Jimmy has the ultimate here. LZ has no passive as well, so this could get a little bit dangerous for Zac if he's not careful. The ghost is used. No. There goes the slingshot. LZ, you're a madman. Will lose a life for it. A 1-for-1, but a kill on a GP for a kill on a bouncy boy. That never feels right.
And red buff.
Oh no, man. What in the world, LZ? Is it matter? Dusk, what are you doing? Please stop that. That's so illegal. Grasp is still a broken rune, and here comes the Ornn Horn once more. Crooked looking to make this one happen, but Dusk to Dawn looking to outplay with the parlay over the wall, and the TP finally gonna come in. The trial by fire, but you get too close to it, you're gonna get burned. JVL returns it with a TP back in the top lane. But, oh dear man, why is top lane the focus this game? Why are we getting both mid laners going to top lane? LZ's here showing up into Prophet's lane. There goes Young Corn bot. And what in the hell? Stingus is already at a quarter HP. The flash forward and the beat drop is there. Kiwi Sim found himself a kill on the enemy AD carry. Prophet will be clapped back. Finally, JBL's gonna throw him in with a good Emperor's Divide. Double flash out of the cage. LZ's 2-1. Kiwi Sim picking up a kill. Crooked's outplaying the top lane, and Lotus are looking to take this crown.
This is definitely some sort of game, and Lotus coming in with a chip on their shoulder. They're like, you know what? Every time these guys do the pre-show, they don't even talk about us. They're too busy talking about VBO this, VBO that, Glaive Amethyst, Swing Schwang, and just look at this. Lotus unrelenting.
VBO trying to make a play here, and indeed, Jimmy finds JBL. The Ornhorn is going to be called down once more in the top lane. Dusted John, no Cannon Barrage available, and you gotta respect the Ornhorn, man. It's too good of a tool. Here comes Kiwiism. The beat drop won't connect. LZ finds one stretching strike without a target to pull back the Hecker, and will just speed away. The slingshot there from LZ goes a little bit wide. Jimmy finds himself away, but with a sizable gold lead, and with a 2 and 4 GP at 11 minutes, Lotus are relentless on their pursuit in these lanes. Stingus finally has some free time to himself, but there's a lot to break down. We have had so much action, even more than we had in our first set of the evening.
Yeah, I mean, we're still sitting above a kill a minute for the 3rd game in a row now, I think.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's out here breaking ankles, and everybody's died at least once except for these bottom lanes. And it is, I mean, except for Stingus. Stingus is kind of ruining the metaphor. But we'll forgive them as we do see Crooked Serpent going down potentially once again.
Yeah, I mean, he's dead, right? There's no Ornhorn, no Flash. Yes, he tries to get the charge away, but Crooked Serpent will pay the ultimate price, and that makes a lot of sense. Finally, the Ornn isn't able to outplay 1v4 or something ridiculous, and Crooked Serpent will go down. But while Jimmy was topside, Drake is spawning in 3 seconds, frantically sprinting down there, but this one should be gone. Prophet on the rotation, but Mr. Kiwiism is here before to zone away the enemy team. You can see the danger pings are going down. Should be 1-to-1 on drag count, as long as this one goes down. Directed camera really doesn't want to look, but here we go. Is the steal there? No. LZ Goods might secure. There's the Essence Flux on the Stingus as he 90 calibers his net. The way over the wall. Hop forward from Jimmy with the charge on to Kiwiism. No flash to get him away. Crooked Serpent is stuck in a pit as well. Lotus will lose 2 members. Prophet picks up 1 for himself, but they secure the dragon.
They might actually lose first brick as well, popping back over the top side. Actually, never mind. I spoke way too soon. That's a lot of HP left there on the turret. But overall, you trade the dragon for 2 kills. 1 onto the Vigar and another one onto, I believe it was the Hecarim. But those are kind of scary targets to give over. I mean, we're starting to see VBO come into a bit of scaling on their own. Alistar, though, trying to bring it back.
Oh, Alistair, there is a reason why you have been the best AD carry in the league. And that is a simple mechanical outplay from Alistair. He was talking to me before this game that he wanted to be the man to make the difference. And just like that, he finds himself a double kill in a 2v1 situation. Sure, LZ came in at the end. Shut up, I don't care. Alistair is the man of the hour.
Yeah, I mean, you needed somebody to step up in this kind of maniacal game we found ourselves in, and that's the perfect player to do it. Essence Reaver already completed, almost has that tier stacked up as well. This is pretty standard build from the Ezreals that we've been seeing as of late.
Oh, there it is. Remember, Walnut has no flash, and Alistair, just like that, is on a killing spree on the Ezreal. Not sure what build we're going to get with all that gold. Is Essence Reaver first? Makes a lot of sense. Once the Spellblade passive, we'll take a couple tower shots just for the fun of it. This won't be first straight, as the top lane had already fallen. It is post 14 minutes, so these towers are pretty much made out of paper at this point. But regardless, LZ's going to look for yet another play. No ability to pull this Caitlyn back, but let's bounce right into the beat drop, and the true shot barrage finds the mark. But the TP is in. Kiwiism is so incredibly low, and the parlay follows the flash over the wall. Dusted Dawn now has found himself the 4th kill. Alistair can't get out, has to flash, has to cleanse, will be shut down regardless. The red buff tick. Excuse me, it was the challenging smite tick that took him down. LZ loses his passive and his life to boot. VBO fight back.
That's pretty disastrous, actually. We talked about a lot of good things. Alistar picking up a ton of gold with those 3 kills, but to then give it right back over to the enemy gameplay on top of the shutdown gold that went over as well, that is not really what you want to be seeing here. Plus all of this tower damage coming in. You've already took down the mid tier 2 or bot tier 1. I don't know where I got that one from, but it's just small thing, right? You're giving passive gold over to the carries, you're trading towers. A lot of this goes towards that scaling the analyst desk was talking about in favor of VBO.
JBL actually decides to hop forward, has to flash because of it. Uses that combo to go forward with the shifting sands and will lose his flash for the next 5 minutes. A little bit unlucky, but regardless, it is VBO and Lotus fighting neck and neck for the crown. Yes, both of them are sitting at just about mid-table, but these two teams should be our top contenders. They've had a little bit of a rough start to the season, but looking to reclaim their dominant style performance here in Excellency Heavy League. And if you are looking for a narrative to talk about, it is these two teams finding their way back to the top of the table. LZ looking for the play. There's the encore into the beat drop. A lot of CC, but there's just no follow through. Soldiers do a lot of work. The Stingest won't go down.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you're talking about how these teams are supposed to be our like top tier table teams, considering they were last season's grand finalists. But enter Glaive Amethyst. We've already seen them here tonight. They won 2 shaky games that we would call quite disastrous if there were anybody else. And yet, even after that, we heard from their mid laner, it was just like, yeah, it's just free, right? Easy clap, go next every time. And now there's these two teams, the actual challengers to the current throne, and they're going neck for neck. There's 23 kills in a 17-minute game. Everybody is feasting except for this VBO bottom lane, and that is simply because Alistair is too much to handle right now. Completed that man immune, has the Essence Reaver, looking to get more. When will they pick up a mythic? Nobody knows truly, so we'll just have to wait and see as this Herald gets dropped in the mid.
Herald will be summoned, and sadly for Lotus, 4 of their kills have gone on to Crooked. She's picked up a lot of the gold, but Jimmy's looking for play into Alistair, who's so incredibly low. He might just get one shot. Crooked Serpent here on the front line. She's gonna die as well. It's 2 kills to VBO after a greedy Rift Herald play in the mid lane. And VBO will even keep their tower alive and claim their second dragon.
There's a lot of crowd control on VBO, and when it hits, there's a lot of damage to follow it up. Juicebox said it on the desk. They talked about it in between our pause. They said this is a unique draft identity. They have the tools to do stuff, and when they land one, they can typically land them all behind it. And they didn't even need the Event Horizon. All the Event Horizon did in that last fight was keep Cricket Serpent in the front line. You had Jimmy doing Hecarim things in the back line, to much of my dismay, and just everything worked out at that point. Jimmy has the damage. They've got that Divine Sunderer. They had a couple kills heading into that team fight, and for as much as Alistair can carry, there's still an AD carry. There's still a marksman. They can't actually 1v1 anybody except maybe the other enemy enemy AD carry. So with Jimmy being ahead like this, and with the Cannon Barrage being available to keep Alistair in place, it's gonna take a lot to keep them alive, and there's not exactly a lot of peel for them on the side of Lotus.
Yeah, all you got really is a beefy front line and then Kiwiism on the Seraphine to provide a little bit of shielding. Now has the Moonstone Renewer completed, so we'll be able to get a little more healing in there as well. But there's not too much hard peel, right? You're not getting a Tom Kench devouring like we saw in our first set. You're not going to get, you know, a Thresh Lantern to safety. Alistair is really left to his own resources to defend against Jimmy, who is just targeting Alistair on repeat. And that's really what he's got to do. Kiwiism really isn't at the point where you have to kill the Seraphine or you're not going to be able to kill anyone else. If the Staff of Flowing Water comes in, then maybe you can start thinking about it. But VBO certainly in control of this game. 4,000 gold lead now is what VBO are sitting on. And they're happy with their lead. They just need to be able to close this one out. Although there's so much scaling on both teams, it's kind of hard to tell who comes out ahead if this game ends up going 40, 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you can kind of give it to the team that has more crowd control, but even then, both teams are pretty good on both. I mean, we have a lot of AoE denial in the Event Horizon and the Ornhorn. We have the Shurima Shuffle into the Seraphine Taunt. Like, there's a lot of crowd control for both sides. It's just who can land it easier and who can land it better. And when you have teams like Prophet and Jimmy, who are pretty much guaranteed engagements, that's a tough sell.
Ornhorn's gonna come down, the Event Horizon is here, and the Encore will only find one. Singus has to flash away, but LZ is going so incredibly low. The passive is procced, but rest of the team is on the run. They don't want any part of the fight. JVL's here doing a little bit of damage, but he just doesn't have enough in the pocket for now. Light Binding connects onto Crooked, but they lose their jungler, which means Stingus takes a lot of damage in the back end. Crooked's still looking for Prophet, has the flash, but he just can't get out of the fight for now. Alistair has to cleanse, looking for the 1v1, and he will trade the kill back. The shutdown gold is handed over to this Seraphine. The stage presence able to take that one. It's a 2-for-1 trade. VBO still take the gold lead at the end of the day. But a close fight in the jungle, and you can see how scrappy these teams are willing to be.
I really don't know how Prophet survived. I mean, he was caught in the red buff pit, had two members assaulting him, and I guess he managed to flash over the wall, but Prophet actually showing what this Veigar can do. The Event Horizon bought so much time in two separate occasions. There was the one time at the Raptor camp where it completely blocked JVL off from joining the team fight, and they just literally couldn't do anything. They just continued farming the minions away from the tower because they simply had no entrance. Then they come down through the blast cone side, they try to get up into the bush there, and then try and get a shuffle onto Prophet, who was stuck in the red camp. And again, Event Horizon down. They dash forward using the shuffle, and they're stunned up, leaving just Crooked Serpent to be the only one dealing damage to Prophet at that point. So they continue to survive, continue to pump out damage. Stingus almost goes down, but manages to stay alive with like probably 24 HP or just something bonkers, and can then keep auto-attacking because they have the Caitlyn range. And very spread out fight from Lotus. If they can clump it up a little bit tighter and get more of a unified engagement, they have the tools, they have the damage. But for right now, these long, strung out fights are just to the benefit of VBO.
And Crooked is going to have to take the punishment. She has to step on all these traps to be able to get through this trap line into the soul point, which is Ocean. It is something you cannot give up. Event Horizon going to go down, keeping Crooked locked up for now. Kiwism loses about a third of the health bar. Dust to Dawn has a huge barrel chain onto JVL. Ace in the hole gonna find its mark onto Alistair of all members. And with a lot of long range and with a lot of ability to keep Lotus away, LG's gonna have to slingshot over the pit entirely, and which means the smite will be secured by Jimmy, and the pings are now towards the Baron ping.
I like the idea. It's something we used to see highlight reels of from Zach back in the day. Was just the flyover smite drive-by. They almost never work, but this is incredibly bold from VBO. They are setting themselves up for potential disaster. They are melting through this Baron though, but every ultimate except for the True Shot Barrage is still available.
Gonna be called down. It knocks up only one member, but it's Walnut has to keep himself safe. The Event Horizon will keep Crooked Serpent very low. LZ has to get into the pit. He goes in. It's secured by Jimmy, but a huge encore finds 3 members, and JVL shuffles them all back into the members of Lotus. But they just don't have enough gold to finish off the fight, and VBO will shut down the attempt by Lotus to steal away the Baron. They'll shut down the attempt by Lotus to take back the crown, and Lotus are silenced. Haters be damned. VBO claim Baron at 24 minutes.
Vlad Brinners only are ego checking Lotus every step of the way, and they've been doing so since draft. They are saying, you cannot beat us, and we're going to prove to you why. All those early kills, meaningless. Everything that went the way that actually impacts the game, Vlad Banners only have challenged and come out ahead. And they're doing it on champs that are not very good. It's Lux, Caitlyn, and Veigar. These champions have not been seen by anybody in a hot minute. And they're just saying, we're better than you, and we're going to prove it. Watch us do so in front of your eyes. Meet us at Dragon in 3 minutes.
In 3 minutes, that is Ocean Soul indeed. That is a win condition in and of itself. You don't have to get gold. You don't have to get a Baron, a fancy Baron-empowered Siege. All you need is an Ocean Soul, and you can basically march down to the enemy team. If they don't have a full stack of Grievous Wounds, there is no chance that you can be able to deal with that one. VBO are looking so good in this game. It was rough in the beginning, just like it was for Glaive Amethyst, but these top-tier teams, I tell you, they have a way to pull it back when it matters most, and VBO have done exactly that.
Yeah, I mean, arguably the most underperforming member of VBO right now is Stingus, and they're on Caitlyn, who, now that we've seen 2 of them today, just frankly isn't that good, even with the buff. And this time we're seeing a much more standard build rate for them, as well as Kraken Slayer and the Phantom Dancer with Berserker Graves. So pretty standard AD carry build for the type of AD carry that Caitlyn is, versus like the Lord Dominix that we saw earlier. So they're 1, 4, and 6, and it doesn't frankly matter because they're Caitlyn. They'll build a 3rd item, they'll build an Infinity Edge at some point, and just do a ton of damage because of their range. Plus, Jimmy's 7, 3, and 8 with the Divine Sunder. He can just do this.
Oh, here you go. It's a one-shot angle, but he just can't find it. There's the Encore. It's a good Event Horizon that stuns 2 members, and Kiwiism's been taken down by an absolute nuke from Prophet. Alistair's the 2nd member to fall. JBL is shut down with a Primordial Burst to the back. And with that, 3 members have been wiped off the board, and LZ and Crooked are left to defend their base in a 2v5. VBO are looking to end this game.
Jimmy just won. Like, he just literally 1v5s, comes out alive, gets a kill, gives a kill over to a teammate, and they're ending the game.
Yeah, Ornhorn summoned, but it just doesn't mean enough. Yes, LZ's in the middle. Yes, LZ's trying to clear the wave, but it's an open Nexus now, and VBO deny Lotus any chance of taking a game in game number 1. JBL leaves early, looking to turn things around in game 2, but VBO are still your reigning champions.
I'm probably never going to hear the end of this from Jimmy because he picked Hecarim and won with it, but counterpoint, you didn't win in 23 minutes, jerk, so you don't get your specialty pick. So eat that and come into the next game. You'll probably play Hecarim again unless it's banned away. But no, I mean, that was a bloody game. 26 kills, 27 minutes. And Vlad Baron has only, once they grabbed their pinky hold, they just twisted and never let go.
And with that, they twist themselves into a 1-0 lead on the night. Are we going to get a repeat of this rematch, a 1-1? Or will VBO end up the better squad on the night? To break down what could happen in the future and what just happened on your screen, we're going to send it to our analyst desk. Take it away, boys.